Pull up a deck chair and sit back, relax. It's time for your favorite cruise hour. You're on board, just cruising. Whether you're dreaming of your first cruise or planning your next one, join Larry Jackson as he explores the magical world of cruising. To launch today's cruise, here's Larry Jackson.
Good afternoon. Aloha e como mai. Welcome aboard. I'm Larry Jackson, owner of Cruise Holidays of Viera, and I'll be your cruise director for this week's edition of our radio magazine. It's all about the magical world of travel. Well, welcome back, everybody. We're very honored that you are allowing us to be a part of your week. We invite you to sit back, relax, and join us as we explore the world of cruising. We'll be talking about some of the news that came across the old computer monitor this week. We'll be bringing you up to date on what's going on with COVID. And then we're going to be talking about a new ship that's going to be coming to Port Canaveral next year, or later on this year. And then if we have some time, we're going to be giving some cruise tips. I'm very honored to be joined in the studio today by the world's most talented program manager, Bill Mick.
I was looking for the other guy, and I didn't think it was me.
Oh, yeah, that guy in the corner over there.
Yeah, that's him. Hi, Larry.
Hi, Bill. If you're not familiar with Bill Mick, you need to get familiar. He's the host of Bill Mick Live, which comes on 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. every weekday here on WMMB. And if you're listening to us not in our WMMB listening area, we remind you that you can get Just Cruisin' and Bill Mick Show on the iHeart app. And it's really a great app because first of all, it's free. It's very easy to use. They don't require you to have all this sign up, and they don't send you texts and inundate you with email. But the best thing about it is you can get our shows wherever you are in the world where you have Wi-Fi access. And you can also get our podcast, Bill's podcast and my podcast, on that iHeart app.
Anytime you want them. That's the cool part.
Yeah, that's what's nice. You don't have to set the alarm clock for Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock or get up at 6 a.m. during the week to
Can I quit setting my alarm for 3 a.m.? I'm ready to do that. Come on, Larry. Help me out.
Bill was talking about retiring this week, but he wouldn't know what the world looked like after 8 o'clock at night if he did.
That's true. That's sad, but true.
Okay, listen, if you are just joining Just Cruisin' and you're flipping through the radio dial or the podcast, let me introduce the sponsors of this show, and that's Cruise Holidays of Viera. I'm the co-owner. The other owner of our endeavor is my lovely and gracious wife, Linda. And together with our very capable assistant, Wendy Borneman, we are the team that comprises Cruise Holidays of Viera. We are a family-owned, veteran-owned cruise planning service that's located in the Viera Suntree area. And that's not as important to you as our website, which is just cruisinviera.com. Cruisin with no G, just cruisinviera.com. And our phone number is 321-242-1331. Now, why is any of that important to you? Well, it's important to you if you're planning a cruise, a vacation, a land tour. We are available to you, and we can help you plan that next vacation. And we do all of this at no additional cost. We get paid a commission by the cruise line. So you say, okay, well, listen, if I book directly with the cruise lines, I won't have to pay that commission, right? No, you're still going to pay that commission. The difference is the cruise line is going to keep that commission. So be sure and buy their stock because you're adding to their profits by adding to their commissions. So, but if you want to get service, if you want to be able to see people face to face, and masks are optional at our shop, then give us a call at Cruise Holidays of Viera, and we'll show you what service is like. I know a lot of people talk about service, but we actually perform it because that's what sets us apart from everybody else. That's also what gets you to come back to us, and that's very important to us. The repeat business is very, very important to us. Okay, let's look at what happened this week in the world of cruising. Last week we told you about our buddies over at the CDC. We're making the conditional sail order that's been in place since October 31st of 2021. that was a mandatory edict that all the cruise lines had to follow in order to be able to resume cruising again. And it encompasses such things as doing simulated or test cruises where you went out with limited passengers and you pretended like you had outbreaks of COVID. It also was dictating the mask policies, the vaccination policies, testing policies. All of those things were mandatory for cruise lines to resume cruising from the United States. Last week, on January 15th, the conditional sail order became voluntary. So we all went, whoopee, that's great. Well, as it turns out, it's not that big a deal because once the bureaucrats get a hold of you, they really don't want to let go of the control they were able to establish. So this week we got a little bit more clarification as to what the voluntary means. This came from a lady called Amy Trefoletti, and that's Captain Amy Trefoletti. Bill, you ever notice guys in nautical, if they ever ran a boat, it could be a fishing chart, and they got
could
captain,
be a John boat in a small river.
Yeah, but once they got captain, they're captain forever.
That's true.
And us guys in the Air Force, we didn't come out with something in front of our names. I mean, matter of fact, we were happy to have Mr.
It was like, hey, you. Yeah. Exactly.
But anyway, this is Captain Amy Trefoletti, and she is in charge of the CDC's maritime unit. Now,
who knew they had one?
Anyway, how do you get in the CDC's maritime? Anyway, okay. She says that the cruise ship operators, quote, can choose the healthy sail option, or they can choose to kind of do their own thing. And her English is great.
It sounds to me like this is getting closer and closer to like Marine Corps or Army volunteerism. You can voluntarily do this, but here's how.
Okay, so you can either voluntarily do what we say, or you can do your own thing, and then we're going to tell you what you can do while you're doing your own thing. Or we'll make sure you never sail again. That's basically the bottom line of what she said in this whole thing. If a cruise line chooses to opt out of the program, its ships would then fall under the CDC's mask order for public transportation, okay? So right now, if you get in a taxi, you go on a bus, you go on a cruise ship, you have to wear a mask indoors. Okay.
So they turn it into the airlines.
Yeah, basically, because that's public transportation, and that's how they're getting away with it. So everything that's other than your own private vehicle is public transportation, so the mask order stays in effect. Okay, on top of that, if you don't go into the voluntary program, they're going to put your cruise ship into the gray area, which means they will not produce any information about your cruise ships. And right now, the CDC has this program where they color code ships based upon whatever's happening with the with COVID on the ships. Now, this is real. Bill, you're going to love this.
I bet I will.
Okay, right now we have 107 cruise ships that are sailing out of the United States. 98 of them are color-coded anything but green. So the four colors are green, orange, yellow, and red. Green means that there have been no reports in the last 7 days of any crew member or any passengers testing positive, or this is even better, or showing symptoms that could be COVID. Okay, so there are 8 ships.
Any way they can find to say we might have a problem here.
That's right. You got it.
It's horrible.
Okay, so right now out of 100 ships, we have 8 that are in the green category. In the orange category, that means that you had less than 0.1% of your passengers reporting or testing positive for COVID. So
and those numbers are very low anyway, right?
Well, 2,000 passengers, that means 2 of them or 1 crew member tested positive for COVID or showed symptoms.
Oh, my.
So what you're seeing here, this is going to be virtually impossible to get out of the colors. And then 90 ships are in the yellow, which means more than 2 passengers on a 2,000-passenger ship tested positive.
There's some statistician at the CDC working for Captain What's-Her-Name that likes putting colored blocks on paper and sending it out to everybody.
But it doesn't mean a thing to anybody.
Oh, my.
Well, the band is here, and as is our tradition here on Just Cruisin', we're going to run ashore for a brief shore excursion. We'll be right back. When we get back, we'll continue with the news of the week, so please join us.
Can we run Captain What's-Her-Name ashore? I'd like to do that.
She's probably going to get promoted.
Yeah, I'm afraid so.
Anchor's up. Here's your host, Larry Jackson.
And we are back. And thanks again for being with us this Saturday afternoon. You're on board Just Cruisin'. Brought to you by Cruise Holidays of Viera. And our phone number is 321-242-1331. Well, before we get back to the news of the week, I want to tell you about a very special cruise that we have coming up in May. And this is going to be an escorted cruise, which means the lovely and gracious Linda and myself will be on board with you. And it's going to be out of here in Port Canaveral. It's going to be on one of our smaller, mid-sized ships, the Mariner of the Seas, which you all might recall was here many, many years ago and is back now. Wonderful little ship, just promenade, rock climbing, ice skating, and an intimate little boat. Mariner of the Seas. This cruise is going to be leaving on Sunday, May 15th from Port Canaveral, and we're going to be cruising over to Bermuda. Before we get there, we're going to spend a day at Coco Cay, the perfect day at Coco Cay, which is Royal Caribbean's private island. All kinds of fun things to do there. Last time we were there were like 20 people on the island, and capacity on that island is probably 6,000 people.
Right. And it's a beautiful place, and it's changed a lot since I was there.
Oh, yeah. They had these two entertainers. They have a stage now, and they do entertainment, and the place probably holds 150, 200 people. We were there one day, and we were the only two people there.
Oh, my.
So these two people are performing for us. Well, as it turned out, we went back a week later. They were still there, and we were still the only two people in the place.
Now, are they locals that are entertainers, or are they off the ship? Because I know some of the people from the ship transfer over and do some of the work on the island when you're there.
Now, Bill, what's changed since you were there is they built almost a little city. They have a hotel for people who work on the island, including entertainers. They have a mess hall. They have a entertainment area for them. So it's completely changed. So people don't go there every day now. A lot of people live on the island.
Now, as a passenger, do you get to go over and see that part where the city is? It's blocked off.
Yeah,
okay.
but where you
those people deserve their privacy. They don't need to be around you all the time.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so we go back a week later. It's the same two performers. It's the same two people sitting in the audience. They remembered all of our favorite songs. It was
very cool.
It was really cool. Well, anyway,
you guys, as much as you get to go, because it's your business, you need to go. You get to make some relationships that are long-term that, and friends for life kind of thing. Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing. We went on a celebrity cruise a few weeks ago, and 3 bartenders remembered us from previous. Now, nobody else but the bartenders. So, that's a little embarrassing. Anyway, we're going to a perfect day at Coco Cay, which is a ton of fun. It has so much expanded. It's so much better. We're going to spend a day in Nassau, and Nassau has just spent a whole bunch of money revamping their pier. You no longer go through a little tiny set of shops and out where a bunch of people hair braiding and taxis are harassing you. Now walk onto an open courtyard with little shops. But anyway, we'll spend the day in Nassau. Then we're off to Bermuda. We're going to be docking at the King's Wharf in Bermuda, which is over by the Naval Museum. Most people don't realize, but Bermuda was the capital for the Caribbean when the British owned this part of the world. And why they put their capital there when the rest of the Caribbean's 2 days south of there, I don't know. But anyway, I think the weather was better there. Proximity to the U.S., maybe?
That was the British.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Well, there weren't as many Bahamians up there. I think that was one of their consider. But anyway, so we're gonna dock out at King's Wharf. We get there at 1:00 on Thursday. We're going to spend the whole day Friday there, and Saturday morning leaving at 1:00 from Bermuda, which gives you more than enough time to get out. They've got a wonderful ferry and bus system. Bermuda is a series of, I think it's 110 islands that are connected by bridges. But a lot of fun, lots to do in Bermuda. Then we're going to spend a day at sea and back to Port Canaveral on the 23rd of May. So if you'd like to join us for this 8-day cruise, please give us a call at Cruise Holidays of Viera, 321-242-1331. A balcony cabin is going to be $1,550 per person, or $3,100 for the cabin. So that's an excellent price for an 8-day cruise. And remember, whenever we quote prices at Cruise Holidays of Viera, we also always include the port charges and taxes. A lot of the pricing you see on the web does not include that. So we want full disclosure when you come to see us.
That's what gives people the impression they pay less going directly to the cruise line.
Yeah.
That nice little trick, but know what's going on, and that's why this show's so valuable.
Yeah. So, and well, when we talk about service, I know everybody talks about, but we have a couple things, Bill, we try to do, and we do them. First of all, we answer the phone in 2 rings. You don't have to press.
You were trained by my dad, too, huh? He was a phone company guy.
Yeah, that's important. Yeah. And you don't have to press 1 for English.
There you go.
We're going to be speaking it when you come on board. If you send us an email, you will get an answer the same day. If you request a quote, we will give you a quote by the end of the day. So those are the things that we call retro service, because it's service that doesn't exist anywhere in America.
That's what keeps you going, and I appreciate that.
That's right. I mean, again, it's what differentiates us.
Sure.
And if we don't do it, we won't be in business. All right, back to, I hate to do this because I know everybody's COVID weary right now, but I do want to talk about one other thing on the COVID. There's an organization called the World Travel and Tourism Council, and it's made up of travel companies all over the world. And the president CEO is a lady named Julia Simpson. And she was at a conference this last week in Spain, the Fitur trade fair in Madrid. And Ms. Simpson called out the CDC for what she said was unfair and one-sided scrutiny. To quote Ms. Simpson, she said, "While we welcome the expiration of the CDC's conditional sale order, its decision to continue elevated travel health notices is nonsensical." And what she's talking about, at the same time that they made the CSO, or the conditional sale order, voluntary, they also issued a warning that people, no matter what their vaccination status is, should not go on cruises. That's really talking out of both sides of your mouth. But
it was horrible. Again, like we said, first week you were back with the show, it's like the cruise industry was under attack from the CDC from the beginning, and they don't do it to other travel industry like that.
Well, somebody at the CDC had a bad cruise, and we're paying the price for it. So
I've never had a bad cruise. I'm ready to go again.
This guy did. I don't know who.
Poor guy.
Okay. Simpson said that cruise lines have been extremely proactive when it comes to safety. One of the first things that happened when we did our whole shutdown back in March of 2020 was Norwegian Cruise Lines and Royal Caribbean went out and hired a whole bunch of scientists. They hired the former head of the FDA. They created a panel that said, okay, let's look at what we know about COVID at this point. How can we keep it from happening on our ships? And how can we reassure the public that they're going to be safe to go out and cruise with us? They spent a ton of money, several months of meetings and gathering information. They came out with recommendations like changing the HVAC system so that the air in the ships is essentially 100% fresh air. It's not recirculated. They came out with disinfectants. They came out with all kinds of protocols to try to, this is totally voluntary on the cruise line's part without the CDC's interference at all with this.
If they leave business alone, business will do what's good for business.
Of course.
And that would be.
Yeah. And us being capitalists, you know, if everybody goes on a ship and gets sick, they're going to stop going on a ship. So,
and their record's been really good.
Oh, it has.
I mean, the very small number of people who are getting sick or whatever, and they're very cautious once they have an illness on a ship.
Anyway, Ms. Simpson says, quote, "The cruise industry has proven time and again that its enhanced health and safety protocols consistently achieve significantly lower rates of COVID-19 occurrence than on shore." And also, this is the only industry that has to report every 7 days how many cases of COVID they had. It's the only industry where you have to have a test within 2 days to be able to use the industry. I mean, if Las Vegas had to have the testing and report for their hotels, the numbers would be drastically different.
Can you imagine the airlines trying to keep track of people who got sick that were flying on planes?
Or everybody who had to have a test 2 days before they got on the airplane.
Yeah.
And with all of that, we're still going to have outbreaks. So nothing is going to be perfect as far as this is concerned. Just a couple more things on COVID, and I promise we'll leave it. Delta this week, if you had to cancel flights back in the last basically year and a half, Delta gave you e-credits, and they've got a very efficient system for redeeming them. It was set to expire at the end of 2022. In other words, you had to use the credits by the end of 2022. They've extended those out to 2023. So if you have e-credits, you can still use them all the way for bookings through the end of 2024. So I thought that was great on Delta's part to keep those going. The other thing Delta's done is if you had medallion status on them previous to the pandemic, they allowed you to continue that status. Normally, you'd have to fly so much each year to maintain your status, but Delta's allowed for the last 2.5 years to continue that status. So I thought that was really cool.
Again, doing what's right to bring their customers back and treat their customers right. That's good to see.
But Delta's the only one that's doing it. So, again, that's who we're booking more than anything else right now is Delta. Holland America has extended their cancellation policy, which allows you to cancel 30 days before the cruise and get a future cruise certificate. We're seeing this with a lot of different cruise lines. So it's really a no-risk situation to make a booking right now because you can, with Royal Caribbean, Celebrity, and Silver Sea, you can cancel up to 48 hours before you go on a cruise for any reason and get a future cruise certificate.
That's nice.
Well, here we are at another port of call. I can already hear the band. Again, we're going to run ashore. We'll be right back, so please join us on the other side.
You know you want to take that cruise. Call the Cruise Holidays of Viera office now at 321-242-1331 or toll free at 866-291-1331.
Hi, and welcome back. Again, we're very honored that you allow us to be part of your Saturday afternoon, and we hope you'll come back. We also would invite you to tell your friends, neighbors, enemies that you know that like to travel about Just Cruisin' every Saturday at 3 o'clock. Our podcasts are up usually Monday afternoon. Also, you can get them on Spotify, our podcast. You can get them on Apple or on our webpage. And our webpage is Just Cruisin' Viera, Just Cruisin', no G, Viera.com, or Google Cruise Holidays of Viera. The president likes to Google, so you can do that now.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay, Bill, here's a story right up your alley. TSA put out a report of their top confiscated items for 2021.
Okay.
So with your old law enforcement background, confiscated items. And now, I never knew what TSA stood for. I thought it meant thousands standing around. That's what
it pretty much results in that for sure.
It's actually the Transportation Security Administration. I never knew what their real title was. And they put out a list of their top 10 catches for 2021. By the way, before I forget, TSA has something really cool called PreCheck. And it cost $85 for 5 years. You have to go up to, for us here in Brevard County, you go to this little shop up in Cocoa, and they verify your identity with your ID and take your fingerprints. It takes about 10 minutes. And then for the PreCheck is so cool because when you go up, you don't have to take off your shoes. You don't have to take off your belt. You don't have to take your laptop or your iPad out of your luggage. You don't have to do the liquids and all that sort of thing. So it's very much faster.
So you don't have the same liquid restrictions everybody else does?
No.
You can put a bottle of shampoo in your carry-on if you want to.
You have the same, but you don't have to take them out.
Okay, I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
I was confused.
While we're talking about that, just remember 3 ounces is the key for liquids.
Right.
And now there is a Murphy's Law. One of the Murphy's Laws is it's hard to make things so foolproof because fools are so ingenious.
That's true.
Okay, so TSA puts out a lot of information about what you can carry on a flight. And I always like that when you walk up there, they have this big sign with pictures of things that you can't carry on an airplane.
Right, I've seen them. Yeah,
and the first one is a chainsaw. Now, that kind of, that was the number one confiscated item, most unusual item. They actually confiscated a chainsaw that someone was trying to bring on board.
No wonder they made it the sign. It's like all the warnings you read on products, right? Somebody did that to get the warning in play.
No, there was one guy who didn't read the warning, and that's and the attorney said, okay, that's it. Okay, another one that's on the sign that I'm glad you guys put it up on the sign because it wouldn't have occurred to me not to bring fireworks on board an airplane in my carry-on.
Oh, my goodness.
Another one was a machete. I've often wanted to bring a machete with me, just whip that thing out.
That seatbelt might be tough. You might have to get it off quickly or something.
Well, you want to slice your salami there in your because you got to carry your own food now. So
there you go.
Do you remember the Saturday Night Live thing when he was the samurai sandwich maker?
Samurai whatever. Yeah, those were John Belushi was hilarious.
And then someone else tried to sneak they put their firearm in their checked luggage, which you're allowed to do if it's in a case that's locked and unloaded, but they put their bullets inside a can of hairspray. So they were going to try to put their bullets on board. So anyway, that's what the TSA went through this year. And by the way, did you know that every year the TSA collects somewhere around $1.5 to $2 million in change that people leave when they take it out of their pocket and they don't retrieve it?
Is that right?
Yeah. So, and I thought, boy, that would be a nice thing to give to some organization, $1.5 to $2 million of the change. But they don't. They give it to themselves to reduce the overhead of the TSA. So,
anyway. Government working to make itself less expensive. I'm glad to see that.
$1.5 to $2 million. That's a lot of change.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Wow.
So anyway, interesting. This week, good news. We're leaving COVID. Okay, and Port Canaveral was voted the best home port in the United States, which we have all known for a long, long time.
That's great recognition.
It is. There's an outfit called CruiseHive, and CruiseHive is, they're like Cruise Critic. They have a bunch of members of people who are avid cruisers, and they do a survey every year. We were on a river cruise a couple of weeks ago, and everywhere we went, first question everybody asked, where are you from? And we'd say Melbourne, Florida, and then you have to explain where Melbourne, Florida is.
Right.
But this time, more and more people said, "Oh, Port Canaveral, that's my favorite place to cruise out of," and it's so true. Our folks, and I know a lot of you who work out there listen to this show, and we really appreciate what you do because
every trip I've had through there, and we've been there together, Larry, many times. Just absolutely wonderful. They do a great job.
It's because the tone of the cruise starts when you walk into that cruise terminal.
Yeah, it does.
And if you get some surly person who's making you go through the metal detector or whatever, the folks out there are so nice and so gracious. They take the time to actually talk to people, to smile, and
they don't have Walter, what's his name's dummy, right? Working.
Oh yeah.
And Jeff Dunham, yeah.
Yes, right.
Yeah, his Walter's not working there.
The folks out at Port Canaveral are just wonderful. I think another big plus we have out there, our security is provided by the Brevard Sheriff's Office, and Sheriff Wayne's folks are really, I mean, he works hard to train his folks to be nice too. And so, but anyway, so it's nice. Bill's right. It's nice to have the recognition. Last time we cruised out of Port Canaveral was back in July, and I timed it. We left from the time we left the cabin to standing in the parking lot was 12 minutes.
That's great.
It's what they have done out there to expedite getting off the ship. You don't fill out a customs form anymore.
Really?
No. You walk up to this machine and you look at it and it turns green and you walk out, and that's it. That's the whole customs procedure now. And,
what's it do?
It has facial recognition and it knows who you are. I've always had this thing about treating people when they return to their own country like criminals. Like,
right.
Okay, what are you trying to sneak in? Fill in this form, and if you don't fill in everything, then we're going to gotcha. And so I've always said it should be the other way around. You guys have to prove something that I'm doing.
The non-IRS.
Yeah, that's
okay.
true.
Yeah,
the opposite. Yeah. But I always resented the fact that the U.S. government is grilling you about what you're doing, where you've been. They used to look at your they can see on your passport where you've been, and they would ask you questions like, well, when you were in Egypt, what did you do? Like you were trying to sneak in, of course, with our border completely.
Found a new mummy?
I don't know.
Come on.
Okay, you knew where I've been, so you proved that. Well, listen, you're on board with Just Cruisin'. My name is Larry Jackson, co-owner of Cruise Holidays of Viera, and we invite you to go to our website, Just Cruisin' Viera, Just Cruisin' Viera, all one word.com. There you can see all of the special escorted cruises that we're going to be taking in the coming year. You can see our podcast or get our podcast. You can sign up for our newsletter, our blog, and we have all of our contact information up in the upper left-hand corner. You build something that drives me nuts on websites is you go to the website and there's no phone number, there's no email address.
And it's hard to find if you go looking for something.
And sometimes it's not even there. It's not in the contact. It's not in the, try it with the airline sometimes. You'll never find a phone number.
Oh, yeah.
But
and once you do, you're going to be on hold forever once you call it.
Yeah,
so that's horrible.
So that's our job, to be on hold with the airline. So,
may I ask you a dumb cruiser question?
Sure.
It's been a while since I've had a cruise.
Okay.
And the passport thing was coming into play, and you did or you didn't.
Right.
The closed loop cruises, you didn't have to have one.
Right.
I still don't have a passport.
Okay.
Do I have to have one now?
You do not, but we recommend that you get one.
Okay.
Okay. What Bill was referring to is that you do not need you are able to cruise with your birth certificate, an original copy of your birth certificate. Now, for ladies, if you've been married and divorced or married and not divorced, you have to have a copy of the marriage certificate and the divorce. So it gets getting complicated. So
unless you went back to your maiden name and you still have your birth certificate, in which case you'd be okay.
That's right. And your ID says that. But anyway, so it's much easier just to get the passport.
Makes sense.
You don't need this if you're cruising from one U.S. city and returning to the same U.S. city.
No matter where you go?
No matter where you go.
Is that right?
Right, yeah. Okay. As long as from one U.S. city back to the same U.S. city, that's called a closed loop sailing.
See, I thought I was stuck on a Nassau, Coco Cay, and back kind of cruise.
No, anywhere in the world that goes and comes back. So,
but back to your home port where you left from.
Right.
That's great information.
Okay. Now there is one.
But I still need to get a passport.
There is one exception, and that's Hawaii, because Hawaii has the only U.S. flagged ship that sails out of there, and that's the Pride of America. And she leaves from Honolulu and comes back and doesn't go to any foreign ports. So you do not need a passport or a birth certificate for that cruise. So that's a little piece of trivia.
It just cruises the Hawaiian Islands?
Just cruises the Hawaiian Islands.
Which are beautiful anyway. I've been there a couple of times.
I know
great.
You have. Yeah. And which brings me to the subject that we are Hawaii destination experts at Cruise Holidays of Viera.
Somebody used to live there.
Both of us. I lived there for 26 years, and Linda lived there for over 30 years. So if you're thinking or planning a trip to Hawaii, every year we do an escorted cruise tour for 10 days to the islands, and we'll be telling you more about that later on in future shows. Or if you just want to go out there, and I tell people I can make anything happen for you in Hawaii, legally speaking, because we lived out there for so long and we traveled to all the different islands. Our family still lives there. Our grandson, Bill, you'll love this, plays soccer every Saturday and Sunday with a mask on. So
oh my goodness!
Yeah, 8 years old, running around with a mask.
I have a good friend from Air Force Basic Training.
Yeah,
from Kauai, a native there. He was an Air National Guard member there. I got to go to Kauai. He and his wife took us on a tour of the island. Nice. Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. I miss it.
That's how we do Hawaii. It's like having a native take you on a tour. Okay, we're at our last port of call. We'll be back, so please join us.
Nice to have you with us on Just Cruisin'.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. As I promised, I want to tell you about a new ship that's coming to Port Canaveral. Now, she's going to be launching in a month and a half or so, March. She's going to be launching in March, and then she's going to Europe. But then in November, she is coming to us here at Port Canaveral. And the name of the ship is the Royal Caribbean Wonder of the Seas. She's going to be one of the Oasis-class ships. Now, to give you some perspective on that, right now we have the Harmony of the Seas here at Port Canaveral. She's doing 7-day Eastern and Western Caribbean cruises. And she's carrying the capacity on these ships at a single or a double occupancy is about 5,800 people. Right now she's carrying around 1,500, 2,000 passengers. So that's one good thing that's happened from COVID is not a lot of folks on the boats.
And even though service is always good on a cruise ship, I've never had bad service on a ship. Right. It's got to be amazing with that few people on board.
Linda calls it small ship cruising on a big ship, and with the small ship or with the big ship pricing. So you're not paying the pricing you would on a 600 passenger boat. Anyway, the Wonder of the Seas is coming to us. The Harmony is here now. Later on in the year, she's going to be replaced by the Allure of the Seas, same boat pretty much, and then finally the Wonder of the Seas is going to be coming to us. She'll be with double occupancy, 5,734 guests, and ships sail for more than 100% occupancy because some of our cabins allow a third and even a fourth person in the same cabin. So when we quote occupancy, we quote the 100%, but we go out more full than that. So
families with kids in the same room or whatever, that type of thing. Yeah,
right. Sometimes you walk past the inside cabin and they've got it configured for 4 people with 2 drop-down Pullmans.
Right, right.
And there's not 6. I don't know how people do that, but the key to 3 and 4 people in a cabin, especially if females are involved, is there's only one bathroom. So getting ready for dinner could be a real adventure.
Send your complaints to Larry Jackson at Cruise Ladies.
No, that's one of the things we do at Cruise Holidays of Viera is we make sure the cabin matches your taste and your budget, but also that you're aware of all all the implications.
Oh, absolutely. And that's smart.
Yeah. And that's the other thing we do, Bill, is we want to make sure the cruise line fits your style and your way of vacationing also, because we don't want to put you on, let's say, a 6-star ultra premium cruise line when you're used to staying at Motel 6. I mean, because then you're not going to have a good time. So we want to make sure the cruise line fits your style of travel.
Don't be on the filet cruise when you're wanting a hamburger.
Perfect.
There you
Great
go.
way of putting it. Okay, the Wonder of the Seas will have 18 decks. Now, one of the things that they're doing, okay, Bill, you're going to get really excited about this. They are going to have a restaurant called the Mason Jar Southern Restaurant and Bar.
You got my attention already.
Me too. However, I think a bunch of Yankees have designed it, so don't get too excited.
Somebody better teach them to make biscuits and gravy is all I'm saying.
That's not even mentioned here.
Of course not. That's because they're not Southern.
Every detail serves up Southern charm in the new specialty restaurant, and setting the scene is farmhouse style and rustic decor. That means they're going to try to make it look like a barn, I guess, because they think us Southerners, that's where we all eat, in a barn.
Okay, I can go with that for now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Live country music.
Okay.
Right, that's a plus.
Yeah.
Even a cozy porch decked out with a swing for lounging.
Okay.
Okay. And a dedicated bar at the center. Now, here are some of the dishes.
Everybody knows you don't get hillbillies drunk. I'm just saying.
They are going to serve moonshine, though. There's one here called the West Virginia Special. No, not really.
My people.
The bar menu has also been sourced from the Southland, with more than a dozen American whiskeys and a lineup of Southern libations. Okay, this really gets me. Being from Georgia, the classic mint julep, dusted tableside with powdered sugar. Who has ever had a mint julep with powdered sugar in it? Come on.
I'm mid-averse, so it doesn't bother me, but yeah, okay.
Wow. Then they're going to have the Mississippi Moonlight, which is made with blackberry moonshine. I never heard of that one either. Blackberries and lemonade served in a chilled mason jar. I guess that makes it Southern because it's in a mason jar.
Well, you know.
Some of the dishes that they're going to have are Johnny Cakes, topped with barbecue pulled pork. That's a new one on me.
I don't know what a Johnny cake is.
I don't either.
Okay.
I thought that was a Yankee thing, but anyway. At supper time, highlights include fried green tomatoes. Okay, that's a start.
We can go with that.
Yeah, but if it was fried okra, that would be even better. But I guarantee you there won't be any fried okra.
My first experience fried green tomatoes is Paula Dean's restaurant in Savannah.
Oh,
they were wonderful.
My three sons. What a restaurant. Oh, the turnip greens. Oh, my God. Now that would be, if Paula Dean did this restaurant,
it'd be done right.
Oh my God,
yeah.
That would be fabulous. Anyway, they're going to have a cinnamon roll.
Okay, I like that.
And I love this authentic Southern fried chicken prepared by a bunch of Filipinos and Indonesians in the back.
You know what? Filipinos can do chicken good.
Adobo.
I've been to the Philippines, and those folks know how to make chicken.
Chicken adobo is one of my favorite things, but not fried chicken. But anyway, so the Wonder of the Seas will be here in November 2022. Royal Caribbean's. It will be Royal Caribbean's newest ship at the time. We will be featuring a Escorted Cruise on her first inaugural sail from here at Port Canaveral. We'll have more details for you on that as we go along in future shows. So,
not only do I now want to take a cruise, I now want to go get something to eat. So there you go. Thanks, Larry.
I'm not sure I want to do it at the Mason Jar restaurant, but anyway, that's what a
It'll
great
be interesting
name.
to see, though.
Okay. One of the things we get asked about is booking airfare if you're going to be taking cruises overseas. We think that Europe probably the latter part of the summer is going to get fully open again once this all gets behind us. So we're starting to book cruises into the Mediterranean later on in July and August. The cruise lines, and this is along Bill's philosophy of trying to entice you to come back to cruising, have been doing a great job on their airfares. They contracted a bunch of flights with the different airlines, and we're seeing great prices from the cruise lines. So we're booking almost all of our air through the cruise lines, and that's one of the things we'll do for you at Cruise Holidays of Viera. If your cruise is going to involve airfare, we'll help you make the arrangements for that, including the transfers. pre-cruise hotel if you're going in early, which we recommend doing, especially if you're going long distances, because a lot of things can go wrong. So another service that we provide, not just booking the cruise, but the transfers, the hotel, the airline, and the excursion.
That takes such a burden off people in planning your vacation, and I'm glad you're there doing that.
Well, our motto is relax, you're with us, and we'll take the details.
And that's a good idea.
Okay, we've come to the end of another segment of Just Cruisin'. Thanks for being with us. We look forward to seeing you next Saturday. Until we do, keep on cruising.